Hello, hola Marco. So, I am on my weight loss journey, and part of that is that I go to CrossFit. Now, on Memorial Day, a lot of CrossFit gyms traditionally do the WOD called Murph. And I wasn't going to do it at first, but later I changed my mind and I signed up for it. By the end of the day, my hands were shaking, I was feeling dizzy, a little bit nauseous, and I basically passed out. Yeah, I effed around and found out. Yeah, let me tell you about it, and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. Now, the Murph WOD, it's named after Navy SEAL Lieutenant Michael Murphy, who died serving our country. Actually, the movie Lone Survivor, he's depicted in the movie Lone Survivor. Now, the Murph WOD, as written, is a 1 mile run, then 100 pull ups, 200 push ups, and 300 air squats, then another 1 mile run. And if you're really feeling challenging, for men, you wear a 20-pound weighted vest, and for women, a 14-pound weighted vest. So it's no joke. It's pretty hard. Now, I knew this was coming up. Everyone at the gym knew Murph was going to happen. Okay, and I did not initially want to sign up for a couple of reasons. One, I work 12-hour shifts, Friday through Monday into Tuesday. I wouldn't have had the time to get much of any sleep. The first Murph class option was at 8 a.m. and the second one was at 9 a.m. And even though Memorial Day is a holiday and I would have gotten off early, I would have gotten off, instead of working 12 hours, I would have worked 8 hours. That still wouldn't have given me a lot of time to sleep. I would have gotten off work at 2 a.m. and the Murph WOD was at 8 a.m. So that wouldn't have really given me a lot of time to sleep. So I decided not to do that. I did decide to sign up for yoga class at 10 a.m. because I wanted to get some kind of workout in. But on Sunday, one of the fellow CrossFitters that I go to and who also teaches at yoga, she said, "Hey, she's gonna do the Murph." And I asked her, "You're gonna do the Murph?" "Yeah, she's gonna do the Murph." And then she said, "Hey, Mark, you should do the Murph." And I'm thinking, no, I shouldn't do the Murph. No, okay. But then I got to thinking about it, and I was thinking, okay, hold on. If I don't do the Murph this year, then I should probably want to do it next year. But then that means that I will have a baseline next year, and then the year after that, I will see how much I will have improved. Okay. But if I do the baseline this year, then I don't have to wait 2 years to see how much I improved. I can see next year. And so that kind of appealed to me. Also, though, I used to weigh like 560 pounds. And when I was that heavy, I had a very bad image of myself. I've done way better. I'm down to 240 today. And I still have that feeling of, am I really capable? Am I really worthwhile enough to do it? Okay. I did not like doubting how worthful I am. I did not like doubting my worthfulness. Okay. I did not like doubting whether or not I could do it because it is a very intense workout. I didn't like that. Actually, it kind of made me a little angry. So I said, no. I am not going to fall into a bad habit, fall into a bad sense of myself again, like I've been for a long time. I'm not doing that. Okay. It's nervous to do Murph. I was nervous to do it. Okay. But that's the reason why I should do it also. Okay. One, to establish the baseline for next year. And two, because I don't want to fall into the idea that I'm not worth it. So, last moment, just before work, I signed up for the 8 a.m. Murph. Now, I went to work and I got off work at 2 a.m. I didn't do any planning really. I really, again, this is the last moment. I wasn't planning it very well or at all actually. Okay. I got off work at 2 a.m. and I don't immediately go to sleep. I come home and I get ready for bed, and I think I went to sleep around 3 a.m. And because the Murph was at 8, I woke up at 7. So I got 4 hours sleep. This is a bad idea. Sleep is very important. It helps you to recover. It helps you to regulate your hormones. It helps you to regulate your metabolism. It helps you to regulate your blood sugar levels. I got 4 hours sleep. Then I woke up, okay? I was feeling a little groggy, but okay, I was well enough to go. Now, I intended to drink a protein shake and this little bottle of orange juice. I also bought a bunch of orange juices for the gym because they were having a potluck breakfast afterwards. I forgot the protein shake at home, and I drank half the bottle of the orange juice. That's the full bottle of the orange juice is 100 calories. So I had 50 calories before the workout. I go, and I have to scale the workout for me. I can't run a mile. Well, okay. It takes me about 25 minutes to walk a mile, and I wouldn't have the time. Okay, so I was scaled down. I did 800-meter walk, jog, run thing, and instead of doing pull-ups, I did a bent over dumbbell rows with 2 35-pound dumbbells in each hand. I was going to do ring rows, but everyone was already on the rig and there wasn't really much room. So I was scaled down to the dumbbell bent over rows. I did the push-ups on my knees, and then I just did the air squats. Then I did another 800-meter run, jog, walk thing. When I finished that run, jog, walk thing, I was bent over. I was breathing hard. I wasn't to the point where I was gonna throw up, but if I'd gone too much further, I think it would have gone to the point where I might have thrown up. Okay. Now, it took me about an hour to do it. And we started at around 8:10, 8:15, and I finished around 9:15. I had signed up for a 10 a.m. yoga. Now, could I have skipped it or postponed or, not gone? Yeah, but it's important to me to be consistent and to show up. Okay? If I say, or if I sign up for something, I want to honor myself, hold to my integrity, and do that for which I signed up for. However, I could have moved it to another time. They had other times later in the day, but no, I decided to go. And this is hot yoga, okay? The room is like, 86, 90 degrees, something like that, okay? So, fine. I go home real quick to grab my mat, my towel, and I do grab my protein shake, and I finish off the orange juice. The protein shake is 160 calories. The orange juice is a total of 100 calories. So before hitting hot yoga, I had 360 calories worth of calories in me. Then I go to hot yoga, and the push-ups already made my chest, my shoulders a little tired. And holding downward dog, man, my shoulders kind of trembling a little bit. Okay. Now, I finished the hot yoga, and it's like now 10:10. I come out, and I'm like in a daze. I have like a brain fog. I'm like in zombie mode. I remember having thoughts, they came into my head, and then they left. Like I was leaving yoga, and I was heading to the car, and I had this thought, am I in a good position to drive? Should I drive? Because I could tell that something was off. Okay? But again, the thought came into my head. I asked the question, should I be driving? But no answer came. The thought just left. And I got in my car and I drove off. Now, you would think that after doing the Murph WOD or the scaled Murph WOD and the yoga, the hot yoga, that you'd be hungry. I didn't feel hunger. I didn't feel like I need to eat. I don't know why. Okay, but I didn't feel hungry. And I also had errands to run. I had to get gas in the car. I had a FedEx mailing I wanted to get out. I had some errands to run. So when I got home, I changed out of my very, very sweaty clothing. Okay, took a really quick shower, grabbed the stuff I needed to do for my errands, and I left. And I went on my errands. And I did, again, only 360 calories so far. I remember not remembering. Okay, I don't remember how I got to the FedEx store. Okay, I don't remember going to the gas station. I know I did these things because I had gas in the car and I did send out the FedEx thing, but I don't really remember it exactly too much. I ran my errands. It took about an hour. So now it's like noonish. And on my way home, I passed the 7-Eleven. And that's when I feel hunger. And it isn't just like hunger pains, hunger pangs. I could like feel my muscles drained of like energy. And I was suddenly hyper aware of how drained my muscles were. Whereas before I wasn't thinking about it at all, but I saw 7-Eleven and something like clicked. And I'm like, okay, I should eat something. So I pull into the 7-Eleven. I go in, I grab a turkey sandwich. I think the total was 600 calories, more or less. Okay. I go out, I come home. I go to my desk. Put the sandwich down, take my jacket off. Okay. I go to open the package and my hands are shaking. Okay. Now, I have like this detached sense of self, like I'm watching myself. And this watching myself was looking at my hands shaking. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Your hands are shaking, Mark. What's going on? I wonder. Okay. And I thought, okay, let me try to make them still. Okay. So I concentrated really hard, and if I concentrated really, really hard, I could almost get them to stop shaking. Almost. And then once I stopped concentrating, they were shaking again. And I was feeling dizzy. I was feeling a little sick. I began eating my sandwich. Now, I couldn't wolf it down. The bariatric surgery, cut out 70% of my stomach. I can't like just shove the entire sandwich into my mouth. I have to take a bite, eat it, let it, swallow, give it a little time, take a bite, eat it, let it swallow, give it a little time. Okay? And after every bite, I felt a little better, but then I had to give it a little time, and I felt worse again. So it's like dizzy, not dizzy, sick, not sick, nauseous, not nauseous. Finally, I finished my sandwich, and now it's about 860 calories. And I know something's off. I know I'm okay. I knew something off before, but now I like really realize it. And I think, okay, I need to rest. Okay. So I get up, I walk over to my bed, I see my bed. Okay. I lean over and to get into bed, and that's the last thing I remember. I'm pretty sure I just passed out. Now, I'm also pretty sure that I got into bed because when I woke up, I had the covers over me and I was lying comfortably in the bed as opposed over the edge of the bed or something. Okay. But I don't remember hitting the pillow. I don't remember putting the sheets over me. I think I just passed out. Okay. And I think I passed out for, I don't know. Actually, I passed out for like 5 to 6 hours, I think, roughly. And when I woke up, I was groggy. Yeah. Okay. I was groggy, but I felt world better. Okay, I could think clearly again, more or less. I got up and I was wondering, okay, that probably wasn't very smart of me. I wonder what happened. Okay, so I of course go to the internet. I Google it. Okay, now what likely happened? One, low blood sugar. I was hypoglycemic, right? I only had a total of 860 calories so far at that point. Before the workout, I only had 50 calories. And then yoga only had 260 calories. So low blood sugar. Not good. I also didn't get much sleep. And again, you need sleep to regulate your stress hormones. You need sleep to regulate your blood sugar. It helps you metabolize. It helps you recover. I didn't get enough sleep. I was already dazed. Okay, I already compromised those systems. Also, I probably was a little dehydrated. Actually, I'm probably a lot dehydrated now that I think about it. Because okay, so I had this much worth of water, and this isn't water. I don't like water. I don't drink water unless I really have to. This is Crystal Light. Okay, I had, and that's about all that I had. So I probably dehydrated as well. So I didn't eat very much. I was dehydrated, and I didn't sleep very much. And all that just caused my body to go into panic mode. And it's okay, we're gonna shut down anything that doesn't need to function. Higher brain function, screw that. Okay, does he need to remember stuff? No, he doesn't need to remember anything. Okay, only the very basics. You know, how to eat. Let's keep that on a drawing board. Everything else goes. Okay. And then when I finally sat down, my body was like, dude, I don't know what this guy's doing, but we need to like stop everything now. Okay, get him to bed. So I got to bed. I passed out. That was not very smart of me. Now, what should I have done? I should have planned a little better. Okay, one, instead of going with 50 calories, I should have made sure that I got at least a protein shake in, and probably a little more, probably around 300 to 500 calories before doing the WOD. Okay, I couldn't really do much about the sleep, but I could have spaced out the workouts. Okay, because again, I could have canceled the 10 a.m. yoga and found one at 4:30 or 6:30, something later in the evening. I didn't do that. And I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to establish a bad pattern. Like I signed up for 10 a.m. I'm gonna do 10 a.m. But my body was telling me, hey, you're stressing yourself out really hard. Maybe take a break. And I didn't listen to my body. So that was another problem. Okay, so I should have listened to my body. I should have spaced out the workouts, and I should have eaten more between workouts. Didn't do that, and I learned my lesson. Now, something about, I don't know, self-image, for lack of a better phrase. Okay, I don't really think of myself as like an athlete or anything like that. But, you know, my personal trainer says, like, you know, I've lost 300 pounds. And, you know, I go to CrossFit and I go to yoga. And before yoga, I did Pilates. Mark, you're kind of an athlete now. Okay. But I don't really think of it myself like that. Okay. I was morbidly obese for decades. And that's how I think of myself. And I really didn't like myself. And I didn't want to go back to that feeling of not liking myself. And the way to do that, as far as I see it, is to show up. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And every time I succeed in my plans, okay, I feel a little better about myself. I earn the right to be proud of myself. And when I fail, if I fail, then I've earned the right to not be proud of myself. And that's a sucky feeling. It's a terrible feeling. I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. Okay, so I pushed through. I did Murph at 8, and I did yoga at 10, and I found out. Okay, don't do what I do. Okay, yes, challenge yourself. Yes, you know, see what you can do, accomplish your goals, but do it in a smart way. You know, because again, I'm not entirely sure it was smart of me to drive. I didn't get into any problems. I didn't get into any accidents. Okay, but I was on autopilot for the most of it. So yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, but you know, I would love to hear about any kind of challenge or goal that was really hard for you to set or to reach. And how did you do? How did you do? Like, what lessons did you learn from it? I'd love to hear that. Love to hear about that. And, you know, if anyone has any advice, suggestions, consejos for me, I'd love to hear that too. You know, like for you all to remember that you're stronger than you think you are. work harder and smarter, and eat a banana before working out, at least one. So yeah, that was my Murph day. I wonder how I'll do next year. I would really like to see if I can run the mile next year, because I did a little bit of running at the end of Murph this year. Okay, because there's a bit of a hill, and at the end of it, and I went down, and I did a running. It wasn't walking, it wasn't jogging. It was like I was running. Part of the reason why I was so exhausted at the end. But I would like to see if I can do the mile run next year. That'd be okay. Until next time. Te veo.